Here's the harsh truth. No matter how much time you spend building a dashboard, if it spins for 30 seconds, nobody's going to use it. They're going to be right back to their PDFs and their Excels. So how do you make sure that every dashboard you build is lightning fast? Well, in this video, I'm going to share my 5 biggest secrets to making your Power BI dashboards run like lightning. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Mike. I'm a senior finance leader, and over the last decade, I've worked everywhere from brand new startups all the way to the Fortune 100. And over that time, I've helped companies automate more than 50,000 hours of work out of their processes. And I want to help you do the same. The thing is, even if you've built a great suite of dashboards, if they're slow, nobody's going to use them and adoption is going to suck. So I've come up with 5 of my favorite time-saving secrets in Power BI that's going to make your dashboards and your data models run faster than you can even believe. And the great thing is, there's no coding or fancy tricks required. All of this uses features already available in Power Query and Power BI, and you won't believe how easy it is. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, Finance Automation Insider. Every single Wednesday, I'm going to send you tips, tricks, and hacks just like this, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Also, when you sign up, I'll send you a free guide to 15 5-minute finance automations that you can get in place today. With all that out of the way, let's get rolling. So here we go, how to speed up your Power BI models. Now, first of all, what is a semantic model in Power BI, just in case you're not aware with that terminology? Well, it's the brain behind your entire report. What makes up a semantic model? You've got your tables. These are broken down into fact tables, which hold kind of the numerical values, the data, and the dimensions that explain and add color to it. You've got relationships. This is all of your tables connecting. So, if you've got a SKU number or a product ID that can allow you to connect tables, those are through relationships. Measures are the calculations and the business logic that you've got written in DAX or data analysis expressions. That's the language Power BI uses. And then you've got storage mode. So that's how your fact tables and dimensions are stored in the model and queried. All of this is turned into kind of instructions and code for Power BI via a semantic model. And this semantic model, it's the hub of all of the data and information in your Power BI dashboard. But why do models run slow so often? Well, it's one word: complexity. Every calculation adds complexity. Every intersection of data adds complexity. Every relationship between a table adds complexity. So you can't just throw your models together and hope they run fast. You have to use the principle of Occam's razor, in that the simplest solution is usually the most effective. It may be cool to build all these really complicated DAX expressions. It may seem cool to have all of these many-to-many relationships and try to wow people with the design. But in everything you do with your semantic model, choose the simplest solution. And that's really going to be the theme of all 5 secrets I'm going to share with you. Secret number 1, and by far the most important, is to use a Star Schema model. The Star Schema is the absolute best practice for building a Power BI model. It's not just me saying that. This is coming directly from Microsoft, that the way Power BI runs its modeling, a Star Schema is by far most effective. So what is a Star Schema? Well, I've got a chart over for you on the right. What it means is that you've got fact tables kind of in the middle of this star. This will be things like your transaction, your GL data, your sales data. This is where the true data sits. Now, any dimensions, customers, products, dates, this should all be kind of in a star format around it. These are your dimension tables. This allows you to have as little as possible in your fact table, and then it's only pulling in the dimensions that it needs to reference anything. This is really how Power BI is designed. And most importantly, you want to have only simple one-way relationships from your dimension tables into your fact tables. That's what's really critical, and that's what makes the Star Schema so effective. So here's an example of a Star Schema model. Now you'll see I've actually got 2 different fact tables. So the first fact table I've got is all of my transaction data. The second fact table I've got is my GL data. So this is going to be kind of the operational product point of sale level data, and this GL data is going to be the actual financials, the revenue, expenses. And then I've got my dimensions. So you'll see over here, I've got my time of day in hours, I've got my different categories, and I've got my unit prices. And then over for GL data, I've got a mapping of revenue and expense that I use to drive profit and loss. Now, this one doesn't look exactly like a star, but you kind of get the idea that you've got these two fact tables right in the middle that are driving the numerical and transactional data. And then I've got all around it, I've got all of my different mapping tables that are feeding in the text data, the dimensions, everything I need. This is what a star schema looks like. And then you can kind of just expand on here for dimensions as much as you need to. Have any questions so far? Go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I read and respond to every single question, and I'm more than happy to help. Secret number 2, storage modes. There's 4 kinds of storage modes that will all have a different impact and speed on your modeling. Import mode is what Power BI is designed for to run the fastest. That's the core functionality where you're bringing in the necessary data to your model. That's the basic function. And for data that you can refresh occasionally, this is the best format, and this is what Power BI will handle the best. Now there's direct query. Direct query is great if you're trying to show real-time data. Direct query is also what you use if you want to reference another dashboard semantic model. Now there are some benefits to this. Again, you can have real-time data. You can also not have to maintain as many semantic models if you want to have lighter dashboards and one kind of central database. Direct query can be useful. But it's a lot slower because every time you click a slicer, every time you change tabs, it has to go to the query and refresh, and that's going to slow you down a lot. Now, there's a solution in the middle called composite models. This is where some of your data is imported and some is a direct query. This allows you to mix real-time data with kind of more steady data sets. You might be able to pull in a real-time fact data if you need point of sale, but all of your dimensions are imported. This allows you to kind of try to get the best of both worlds. I also want to mention it's technically now the fastest. Most of you won't be able to use it, but in case your company does have Fabric data lake set up, Microsoft Fabric, you can now get the benefits and speed of import mode with the real-time data of direct query without the latency and without the calculations by using Direct Lake through Fabric. If you have access to that, definitely use it, but the majority of you just won't have access to it. Now let me show you how to check the storage modes for your query. So if I'm in my model and I go to any item here, I can check the storage mode. So you'll see here, because this is all kind of fixed data that I'm pulling in once a month, I have my storage mode for everything set to import. So there's import there, here's import here, here's import here, and it's critical to note you can't natively change a query in Power BI between import or direct query. You make that choice when you're pulling it in. So if I were to go to get data, now if I pull in an Excel workbook, it's typically going to default just to importing it because that's kind of how Excel is designed to come in. But if I'm going to a SQL server or a Power BI semantic model, or if I'm going to data flows, if I'm going to something that's a database, it's going to give me that option to pick between them. And that's where you want to check to make sure you understand how all of your data is coming in, because that's going to add just so much complexity. I'll also mention if you've got that direct lake through Fabric, you're going to find that up here in the One Lake Data Hub. This is where you're going to be able to find those Fabric databases. Just note again, a lot of people aren't going to have access to that, but that option is there if you do have the option. For a composite model, what you're going to see is you're going to have some things here like your dimensions are going to be in the storage mode for import, and then you're going to go and you would see something like a transactions, that's going to be a direct query. That's all a composite model is. It means you've got some of both, hopefully keeping that direct query as small as possible. Secret number 3, calculations. Do your calculations as close to the visual as possible. This means that you only have to do calculations for exactly what a user is looking at, not on the entire data set. In order of speed, the fastest calculations are visual calculations done right in a chart. This is a great use for things like variance analysis, variance percents. Do them in the chart, and it doesn't have to calculate this across the data set. It just has to calculate what's literally in the chart. Next up is measures. The measure is calculating only what you need based on what's called in the measure. It's only going to calculate for the data on a sheet. It's going to calculate after any filters have been applied. It's a great way to get the benefits of kind of having consistent calculations, not having to build them in the visuals. It's a little bit slower than visual calcs, but much faster than the other two options. Now, third for speed is building your calculations into columns in the data model. So you do have to wait for Power Query to run this. If your data sets are very large, it can still slow you down, but it's faster than the last option, which is columns. This is using Power BI to add entire columns to your semantic models into a data table. Now, with a column and how it's different from a measure, the column is going to literally go through your data table and make that calculation at every single intersection. Think about if you have a table where you've got your prices and another table where you've got your sales quantity. If you do a column, it's going to calculate that at every single transaction. Versus if you did it in a measure, it's only going to calculate after all the filters are applied and for any data being shown on the sheet you're looking at. So columns should be used cautiously. There are times to use them, but they should be used very cautiously because they're very data heavy. And if you have a large fact table, this is going to give so much latency, it's very hard to overcome. Calculation. So let's start with showing what a visual calculation is. Now this is again one that you put right onto the visual. So I would click my visual, I'm going to click the three dots, I'm going to go to new calculation, and now I'm going to do a calculation that is literally only going to be on the visual. So that's a visual calc. So now what's an example of a measure? So for a measure, let's say I could go to my transaction table. If I come in, if you see this little calculator symbol, that means it's a calculated measure. I'd click on my sales, I see my formula come up here, but you'll see these sales are not anywhere in the table. That's because it's a measure, it's only going to pull in the data I need post filters and for what is exactly shown on the visuals on the page. It's not calculating this across the entire data set, which is a massive, 100,000 line data set. Now contrast that with a calculated column. So I'd come back here, I'd go to new column. Let's call this new column sales. We'll say this equals my transaction quantity. There it is. This is going to be times related. Now you'll notice also in the measure I had to do sum x because I wanted this at every single level. I don't need to do that because I can just use the regular formula because with a column it's already going to do it at every single intersection. So then I would do my related product pricing. All right, we'll go ahead and hit enter. And now you'll see it's going to calculate this across every single intersection. So it's added this entire column. And every time you refresh, Power BI has to calculate this entire column instead of just calculating what you need. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post a brand new video every single week, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Secret number 4, dates and times. Power BI will automatically build in date and time calculations if you're using these functions, but you don't want to let it if you want it to run fast. If you want it to run fast, you want to create a date table in your Star Schema. You can do this easily using Power Query. You want to create a date table in your Star Schema, use that as a dimension, and then reference that dimension. Don't let it do it automatically because that's just adding complexity and calculations that you don't need. All right, now let's talk about managing dates better. So the first thing you want to do is you want to turn off auto date and time. So I want to go to my options. On data load, we're going to turn off auto date time intelligence. We'll hit OK there. That's going to save so much computing power. And then we can go to Power Query and we can add a new date table. So to do this, we can go to Get Data. We can go to a blank query. Now we're going to go to the advanced editor. We're going to paste in some really easy code. All right, so let's go ahead and paste this code in. This is going to be dynamic, meaning it's going to be based on whenever you're refreshing it. We'll go ahead and hit done. Here's our list of dates, and then you can add into here anything you need. You can add in days of the week, months, quarters, whatever you want. This is your basic date table that you're then going to add into the Star Schema, and you can always reference back to this. Super easy, super fast, and it's going to save so much computing power. Secret number 5, optimize your data. Now, this is actually a couple of secrets, but because they all really are kind of a data set optimization, I put them all together. Number 1 on here, you can remove unused columns. The biggest rule is don't pull anything into Power BI you absolutely don't need to use. Any extraneous data will just slow you down. Reduce precision. If you're never going to use more than 1 or 2 decimals, then stop it at 1 or 2 decimals. Every extra number after the decimal adds complexity and adds load to the data model. Third, split or get rid of high cardinality columns. This is something where every single value is different. Think about if you're combining a SKU number with a product category. These will slow down your model because Power BI has to process every single one as a unique item and can't group, it can't create categories, it just really slows the model down. So try to avoid using these wherever it's possible. Next, use integers wherever possible. If you can avoid having any text in your fact tables, you're going to see your models run so much faster. Text is so much heavier than integers. It's even heavier than numbers with decimals. Just avoid it, especially in your fact tables, wherever you can. Anytime you can choose an integer, do it. That's going to add so much simplicity and speed to your models. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my video on Power BI secrets. This is going to give you a lot of cool new features and tools to build into your Power BI now that your Power BIs are running super fast and everyone's going to be clamoring to use them. I'm going to put the link to this video right here. Again, these are some really cool Power BI secrets I've developed and you don't want to miss them. I'll catch you over there. This is Mike signing off from F9 Finance. Cheers.